All right, let's do something amazing today. We're going to journey 2,500 years into the past and rebuild the court of one of history's most visionary leaders, Cyrus the Great. We're going to see exactly how this incredible lost world is being brought back to life.
So, our story starts right here, on the vast, quiet plains of what is now Iran, at the ancient site of Pasargadae. And you know, it's one of those places where if you just stand still and listen, you can almost hear the echoes of a truly revolutionary empire. But how do you even begin to rebuild a world from little more than dust and memory? Well, that's what we're diving into first, this incredible process of raising a lost splendor from its very foundations. I mean, the challenge is just immense. For centuries, all that was left of Cyrus's very first capital were these silent stones and piles of broken bricks. But right now, today, a really dedicated effort by historians and archaeologists is underway to piece together this monumental puzzle.
And the way they're doing it is absolutely fascinating. It all starts, of course, by meticulously excavating the stones. Each one holds a piece of the story. Then they analyze any surviving stone reliefs, for clues about what life was actually like at court. And finally, they use cutting-edge 3D digital technology to reconstruct what these magnificent halls might have looked like. It's really history meeting the future.
Okay, so now that we know how it's being rebuilt, let's get into the what. What did they actually find? Because the design of Cyrus's court reveals the blueprint of an empire that was built on a totally new way of thinking. What the ruins have shown us is a court that was unlike anything else at the time. We're talking about palaces, gardens, and halls laid out with incredible precision. But it's the atmosphere they suggest that's truly radical. Instead of these dark, intimidating halls of power, this was a court filled with natural light and a sense of respectful silence. This wasn't a place of fear. It was the calm, efficient hub for an empire that stretched all the way from India to Egypt.
And this really brings us to the core idea. The architecture was amazing, sure, but the philosophy behind it, that was even more revolutionary. This was a court built on the pretty radical concept of justice.
And you have to see this in context. I mean, think about it. The courts of the Egyptian pharaohs were built on fear, and the Babylonian kings ruled through spectacle and superstition. Cyrus, on the other hand, established his rule on a foundation of wisdom, respect, and a real sense of human justice. It was a complete break from everything that was considered normal in the ancient world.
And look, this isn't just us looking back with modern eyes. Even people at the time, foreign observers like the Greek historians Xenophon and Ctesias, were blown away by his rule. They wrote that Cyrus was seen not as some terrifying master, but more like a father figure to his people.
And this philosophy wasn't just talk. It led to some groundbreaking social policies. In Cyrus's empire, slaves were freed. Women weren't just around. They held respected positions. No single ethnic group was considered better than any other. In fact, his court became a center for dialogue, where representatives from all the different nations could actually gather and have a voice.
So all that splendor you would have seen, the beautiful silk, the intricate silver goblets, the famous Persian carpets, it wasn't just about showing off how rich he was. It was a celebration of culture, a tangible expression of art and the diverse spirit of this massive empire. Okay, now let's step out of the halls of power for a minute and walk into one of the court's most famous and influential creations, the royal gardens. Here's a fun one for you. Have you ever wondered where the word paradise actually comes from? Well, it comes directly from here. The old Persian term for these incredible walled gardens was paradisa. That word traveled through Greek and Latin and over centuries became the word we use today for a perfect, peaceful haven. And they really were a paradise on earth. Just try to imagine it. Water flowing through these beautifully crafted stone channels, the shade from cypress and pomegranate trees, and the air just filled with the scent of lotus flowers. This design, it shows a whole different side of Cyrus. Not just a conqueror of lands, but an architect of actual beauty and tranquility.
So, we've rebuilt the court, we've walked through its gardens in our minds. But why does this 2,500-year-old story still resonate? Why does it matter to us today?
Yeah, let's tackle that question head on. Why should we, in our complex, modern world, care about these ancient stones and the king who built this place? Because when you get right down to it, this reconstruction isn't really about the buildings. It's about rediscovering a philosophy. The principles of justice and respect that guided Cyrus are literally baked into artifacts like the Cyrus cylinder, which many scholars consider the world's very first charter of human rights.
His legacy is really this timeless, powerful reminder. It's a lesson that it is possible to wield immense power and still be noble. That you can build a lasting empire not just on the strength of your armies, but on the power of your ideas and your wisdom.
And in his own simple, powerful words, inscribed for all time, we hear the voice of the man himself, a leader who knew exactly who he was and the legacy he was building.
And that kind of leaves us with a final thought, doesn't it? In a world that is still so often torn between power and justice, maybe it's worth looking back to the court of Cyrus, to a place where the guiding principle was that a person, above all else, was respected.